Hey guys, there is no denying that Canon has done a fantastic job in fleshing out their series of high-end L series prime lenses, their VCM hybrid photo and video lenses. And the beauty of these lenses, they're all fast, they all tend to be the same sort of size, weight, close in physical dimensions, so it's like having a whole match set. But today I'm testing the latest one, the new 14mm f1.4 L series. It brings up a very important question when I play with this latest 14mm, because I worry that this lens is either trying to do too many things not very well, when maybe it should be sticking to just one thing. I'm Chris Nichols, this is PetaPixel, and we're going to find that out today. So for today's test, I want to use a camera that's got high resolution. So I'm going with the Canon EOS R5, 45 megapixels resolution. And in order to store all those files, what's interesting about this camera is it takes both CF Express Type B and SD cards. And I'm always going to use OWC in these cases because I really rely on them every day. And they're really easy to identify by color at a glance. I like that. I mean, if I go with the blue cards, I'm getting the OWC Atlas Pros. They're reliable, but they're also affordable. They just give me really good performance for the price. But if I need the absolute fastest card possible, then I go with the purple OWC cards. These are their Atlas Ultras, and these give me state-of-the-art speed for when I'm doing like high-resolution video or fast burst rates. And to ensure maximum reliability in the field, I use the Innergize software by OWC when I get home. This will check the health of the cards, it'll let me restore their performance with proper formatting, and I can also stay up to date on the latest firmware updates. So definitely check out OWC, we love their cards, we rely on them all the time for our work. You can click the link in the description below and check them out today. So whether it's a photo or video application, what are we going to use a 14mm lens like this for? Well, certainly for some landscape applications, although personally I find it a little bit wide for that. But I absolutely love it for low light interior architecture as well as astrophotography. These are what I think a lot of people are going to be buying this lens for. So today we're going to head into the Calgary Central Library. It's got some cool architecture to shoot. And even though I was gone for a trip for quite a long time, Jordan was able to get out with the lens and do some astrophotography samples for you as well. Okay, so the first thing you notice about this is it's very small for a 14mm f1.4, and that's because Canon is trying to keep this similar profile to the other VCM prime lenses. We've got an incorporated hood in the front here. That means no filters, but you can put drop-in filters in the back of this lens. We do get a customizable ring here. I like that. I mean, I can set this up for things like changing exposure settings. There's lots of options there. We also get a really well damped manual focusing ring. It's smooth to turn for both video and photo work. For astrophotography though, I wish that there was a locking mechanism, because what'll happen is every time you turn the camera off and then on again, it resets. It'd be nice if we had a manual lock so they would remember the last place we were at. We do also get a customizable button here. We get autofocus, manual focus, selector switch. And then that brings us to the aperture ring. And this is the same setup that you'll find on all the VCM primes. And honestly, I don't really like the way that they implement this. So basically what you have here is a smooth turning aperture ring. There's no option for click stops. I can lock it into auto mode. But this only engages and works in the video mode on a lot of cameras. You get that smooth operation for video, but if I go into photo mode, only the most recent bodies will support this ring for photographic shooting, which means on this R5, if I'm shooting photos, this aperture ring's useless. It doesn't do anything. No matter where I lock it, I got to set everything off the body. Now, to go along with the compact size, we also get fairly lightweight, 580 grams. That's not too bad to carry around. And because it is an L series lens, we get full weather sealing. Now, while we're up here, we have a really nice opportunity to do an autofocusing test. We got something really close to a far off background. So as you can see here, This is a very fast focusing lens. Swift, silent, voice coil motor, they're all the rage nowadays. And you can see here it's just really snappy. I also want to talk about breathing on this lens too. I mean, if you're doing any work where you're focusing near to far, you'll notice there's a little bit of movement in the frame. That field of view changes a bit. It's not huge, but it is noticeable. So keep that in mind. Any video work, you got a touch of breathing to deal with. We should definitely talk about bokeh. I mean, this lens does have a very bright f1.4 aperture, but we also have to understand that being a 14mm ultra wide lens, you're not usually going to get that shallow depth of field. I mean, unless you really force the lens right up close to a subject. But I still want to talk a little bit about what the specular highlights look, and certainly more so when you do get a soft background, how that renders. Specular highlights on this are beautiful. I mean, the 11-bladed aperture is giving us very round highlights, even wide open. This lens is clean. No onion rings, no real soap bubble effect. I mean, L series quality, you're going to get excellent optical performance. More importantly, what does this do to a slightly out of focus background? It just gives us a nice smooth transition from in focus to out of focus. No distractions, no frenetic energy in the background. It's just calm and smooth and really beautiful. But having that really bright f1.4 aperture can also be an issue when it comes to LoCA, longitudinal chromatic aberration. It's where you get that color fringing in the foreground and background out of focus areas. It's really hard to get rid of in post. And it has been somewhat of an issue on some of the other VCM L series prime lenses. But on this 14mm, you can see here, it's actually very clean. I'm really not noticing it. I mean, again, it's hard to get an out of focus background on such a wide lens anyways, but even up close, it's nice and clean. So this is a really good result for that too. So we got this bright sunny day out here. I think it's an appropriate time to talk about flare, especially when you consider that a 14mm ultra wide lens is quite often going to have some sort of bright light source in the shot. You know, I mean, the sun almost doesn't matter what direction I point this lens, I'm going to get the sun in there. So let's take a look at our test shots here. Shooting at wider open apertures is actually fairly well controlled. You'll see we're not getting too much ghosting. Contrast is really good. There's no issues there with washing out. As we stop the aperture down though, this is a fairly complicated lens formula. So even though we've got this integrated hood, which is helping us with contrast, we are still going to get that flare. And you can see it quite distinctly here, a whole row of bright ghosting, dark purple, some greens. I mean, you're definitely going to notice it. And of course, a lens like this we're often used for landscape shots. So I figured, why not test Sunstars? It's been a long time since I've done that. This has an 11-bladed aperture, which gives us a nice round opening, but it's got just enough character to actually give us beautiful Sunstars. Canon are often very good at this with their professional L series lenses, and this is no exception. You can see here at tight apertures, we're actually getting beautiful, well-defined and dramatic-looking Sunstars. So think nighttime cityscapes, think sun in your landscape shots. It can actually be quite nice looking. So far I've been pretty much raving about this lens. I mean, L series, it's got great optical performance, but a lens like this does have a major compromise, and that's when it seems to come to astrophotography. But that's too bad, because this is something you might really want to use a lens like this for, and Canon doesn't really have such an ultra-wide, ultra-fast lens available in its lineup until now. So let's take a look at Jordan's shots. He got some really nice stuff. What we're going to see here in the corners, though, shooting wide open at 1.4, no coma. They've done a good job there. You're not getting any sort of bat wing shape, but the corners have a lot of streaks. I mean, you can see some vignetting taking place, and these stars are just streaking towards the center of the frame. So you got to try to get your focus as bang on as possible to minimize this, but even doing that, you're still going to get these streaks in the corner, and it just makes everything look a bit soft and mushy. And look, I mean, you've got lenses, albeit in completely different mounts, but lenses like the Sigma 14mm 1.4, these are larger lenses physically, but they do a better job of astrophotography. I think the compromise really comes down to the fact that Canon tried to keep this smaller. Now, if you stop the aperture down, things get a little bit better in the corners, but they still don't get great. And you don't want to be stopping down your lens for a lot of astrophotography applications anyways. So I do wish that they did a better job here, or maybe just decided, look, even if it's going to be a hybrid photo video lens, let's go with a larger size and optimize it for astro as well as video. But this is the decision they made. All right, I think it's time to talk about sharpness. Let's go to the test charts and have a look here. You can see shooting this lens wide open, f1.4 in the center, nice and sharp. I mean, we're not getting ideal contrast, but it's not bad, but there's plenty of detail. We stop the lens down to f2.8. Well, that's where that contrast comes in, and it just looks fantastic. I don't really notice much difference stopping down as far as overall detail goes. But what about the corners? Well, we've talked about how they're a little bit soft. You can see it here shooting at 1.4 in the corners. some vignetting and darkening in the corners, and it does get a little bit mushy. It's not bad though. Stopping down the lens to f2.8, I don't really notice much improvement though. So here's again part of the issue. I think with stars, we're gonna see those little shapes. If we don't have stars, which are bright highlights, well, it might just kind of have a general softness to it, and it's somewhat easy to correct, but I'd stop this lens down heavily if you really want full center to corner sharpness. So you know what, there's a lot to love about this lens. And we gotta remember, this is still an L series lens. Canon's doing a fantastic job with the optical formula here, and it is very compact, easy to carry around. It does a good job as sort of a hybrid photo video lens. I just feel that it lacks versatility because of that astrophotography result. And again, you can absolutely use it for astrophotography. We just want you guys to realize those corners are not gonna be as ideal as you might want them to be. That compromise is absolutely present. Of course, another issue is this is an expensive lens. I mean, anytime you see that L on there, you know that you're gonna be paying a hefty price for it. And frankly, there aren't any alternatives either. When it comes to Canon full frame RF mount, you just don't have any other choices for 14mm, save for using the old SLR version, which I do not recommend. So if you are looking for an ultra bright, ultra wide prime lens, and you want the smallest size possible, you're gonna love this. If you want something that can handle everything and do it well, you might find there's too much compromise to make you happy. But you guys let us know what you think in the comments below. We always appreciate that feedback. We'll talk about this and many other optics on the PetaPixel podcast. It's on this exact same channel, or you can listen to it on all your favorite podcasting apps. As well, do consider supporting us with a PetaPixel.com membership. It helps big time. Only $3 a month or $30 a year. That's even less. And look at all the benefits that you get. It really helps us fund a lot of special projects and bring more versatility to the content that we bring you guys. Appreciate you always joining us. We'll see you soon with more on PetaPixel.